As we're getting started, I see everyone's joining in the room, and those that are joining on Zoom, the first thing we're going to ask is for you to put how many voting members that you have present um, there that are going to be voting so that we can determine if we have a quorum. We need 103 voting members, so I don't know if they're Dan, Terry, and them, someone can. 64 present here. Currently? Okay. So we'll determine here in a moment if we have a quorum. I know that Sean is in helping me right now, so he's going to tally that up. I see everyone's joining in the room, and those that are joining on Zoom, the first thing we're going to ask is for you to put how many voting members that you have present there that are going to be voting so that we can determine if we have a quorum. We need 103 voting members, so if they're Dan, Terry, then someone. Sean, get them back in, try and figure out how to get the audio. So you said 60, how many, Terry? 64. So we'll need to have 39 online. Hey, April, I'll have Sean text me the number. Huh? I'll have Sean text me the number. Okay. So, and I think I just killed the meeting for all of them, so Sean will have to start it back up. And Michelle, do you mind if I bring you my laptop so that it's not echoing back through the speaker? You can join and become the host and become the co-host in case he needs to leave. So just to explain how the online is going to work, so I have went in and created all of the polls and questions in there. So when we get ready to accept a committee report or have a motion for something we need to vote, there is each individual question will launch. There's a poll for it, and we'll launch each question individually. And there'll be an answer. There's 10 options to choose from, 5 yeses and 5 nos. And of those 5 yeses and 5 nos, behind it, it says how many members you have present that are voting yes and how many members you have present that are voting no. So we'll be able to determine if anyone votes no on any of the motions made. We'll be able to determine if there is enough yes votes to pass without going back. So that's what they'll do. So I've created all of that in the Zoom meeting now. So once we get ready to make motions, they're there for them to be able to vote. So we'll give it just a few minutes for Michelle to get logged in and be my co-pilot to help me out here this morning so that I can get it started. And then once we know for sure how many we have online, then we can determine if we have a quorum. And if we do, then we'll start the meeting officially and get started, okay? So bear with me for just a second. It'll help make sure we're good to go. Okay, we'll give it just a few more minutes here and bear with us. This is first attempt at this, so hopefully it'll be fairly smooth, but I'm not promising. Got to try and do what we can do, right? 40? Okay. We're good to go. One spare. Whoever wants to determine that you're the one spare, good for you today. All right, so we will call this meeting to order for the Zion Lippy 2021 annual meeting. To get us started, just a couple of things that is prepared in the document. What 2020 was, we did have one new member. We had 7 losses. At the end of the year, we were at 401 members. As of this morning, we're at 412 members. So we have gained some members since the end of the year. In the church council, we'll get to voting and installing new officers later, but just as a notice, this year is the end of my term, the end of Rosie's term, and the end of Ashley's term. So we'll be the 3 members that will be rotating off after the meeting today. So if you see me run out real quick, my time is done. Just kidding. Just kidding. So in order to get started, we'll go, Laura, I'll have you come up and read the minutes so we can get started. There you go. I'll get my mask off.
These are the minutes from the annual meeting taken on January 26th of 2020. The 2020 annual congressional meeting was held on January 26th. April McCutcheon called the meeting to order and a quorum was present. The minutes from the 2019 semi-annual congressional meeting were presented. It was motioned by Matt Kern to accept the secretary's report and seconded by Rosie Bogard. Secretary's report was accepted by the congregation. The 2020 annual treasurer's report was presented by Jerry Redmond. Jerry reviewed the income statement for the time period of 1/1/19 to 12/31/19 with total assets of $314,878.53. One line item that is still a bit over budget is property due to the purchase of a new air conditioning unit for the Sunday school hall. Karen Esche reported that an audit for January 1st to December 31st of 2019 was conducted. The treasurer records accurately reflected the income and expenses for this time period. Jim Draghi provided a report regarding Partners in Food. A written endowment fund report was provided for the period of July 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2019 to the congregation within the 2019 annual reports. There was nothing additional to add from the committee. Rhiannon Anderson reported that the Engaging Youth Adults Grant is coming to a close. On March 5th, we will be meeting with the Center for Congregation to finalize everything. Items left are the web design and Weekend of Hope. All projects will need to be completed by the end of May. On to the new business. Matt Kern reported on the new budget. The custodian line item will be split in 2, and there will be an increase in pay for the custodians. Employed staff will receive a cost of living 2.5% pay increase. It was motioned by Hans Schmidt to accept the budget and seconded by Michael Klink. Budget was accepted by the congregation. Terry Schrader provided a report regarding tuck pointing. Terry thanked all who supported this project and would like to tuck point an additional 116,000 square feet to the front of the Sunday school area of the building. This would cost $31,200. This was from a quote dated April of 2019. We currently have $10,350 to go towards this project and will need roughly $20,000 more. We could use some monies from the building fund. Question was raised as to when the last time was that the sanctuary was tuck pointed, and it was last done in 1948 to 1949. There currently are no leaks in the sanctuary. Terry will work on getting a quote for tuck pointing the sanctuary to share with the congregation. Motion was made by Terry Schrader and seconded by Irma Donner to proceed with the tuck pointing on the front Sunday school area of the building. Motion accepted by congregation. Council members came forward for introduction. The three members leaving the council are Matt Kern of Stewardship, Jerry Redmond, Treasurer, and Shanna Crace, Secretary. The three new nominees were Laura Dregge, Bob Klink, and Dan Hoffman, who were installed by Pastor Jeff. A motion to adjourn the meeting was made by Hans Schmidt and seconded by J.J. Moore. These notes were taken by then Secretary Shanna Crace.
Thank you, Laura. So those are the last official minutes. So we did have a online update during COVID, but it was an official meeting because there wasn't any voting. So those are the official last minutes that we have from a meeting. So that's why there's no semi-annual meetings minutes for review today. So those are the last actual meeting. So I'll open up if there's any questions before we go to a motion about the minutes that were read. Okay, no questions? If I can have someone to make a motion to accept the secretary minutes from the 2020 annual meeting. All right, same thing. Do we have a second? Terry? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. That should be poll 1. Michelle, if you want to launch it in the Zoom.
This is really behind.
Okay.
So, but I can go ahead and launch it.
You can go ahead and launch it though, yeah. You'll mainly just be looking for no responses, which would be the bottom 5 questions. Dan, if you want to start getting ready while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and move out, and if anything pops back, we'll. So the motion carries for accepting the secretary minutes.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Dan, treasurer. So last year, despite COVID, we actually did very well and had a good year. We had a beginning balance of $282,500 or $752.41. You can see a total income there on the sheet of $285,204.11, with the total funds of $567,956.52. We did $322,406.72 of disbursements, leaving us at a total assets of $245,549.80. Once again, since we just heard the Secretary's report, property did go over. We did have a roof project that we did do, as well as an air condition that we ended up replacing. And then we did have the medium fund project as well that went over budget due to COVID and putting in the new systems that we needed to align. That is a very high-level overview. Is there any questions or comments? And Michelle, are you going to tell me if there's any online questions or? It was a tough year, but we did very well. I'll give it a minute or two since we heard online's a little behind.
Sean says there's no online question.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
There's no motion needed to accept the treasurer's report. It is subject to audit, and I know that there has been 2 audits done on it already, so we don't have to have a motion or to have a vote. So we'll move on to the next item of business, which is going to be the 2021 proposed budget. Looking for Bob. There he is. He's going to come up and go over it, and then we will have a motion and a vote after the budget is proposed.
Good morning. Okay, the budget committee ended up being myself and Dan Hoffman and Gabe Schrader. We did a raise on all our employees of 2.5%. Okay, a couple of the first item that is above what 2020 is the media operator. Talking with Greg, it's about twice the work that it used to be, so we're going to open that up to 2 positions. We're going to make that 2 positions. That is the increase in that for the 2021 budget. Okay, the website and computer maintenance is probably the next item on there. And we made that $2,500 because of the increase in our website, things. And adding that up, there is a domain fee of $20, web hosting $288, blog and audio $50, texting service $450, maintenance and security is $1,000 for the year. Financial and payroll programs are $420 and antivirus is $65. That adds up to $2,293. We added in roughly $200 for if something happens. And then our property insurance actually went down. We have a new provider, and it has decreased a little bit. But other than that, everything else is pretty much the same or close to the same. Does anybody have any questions?
Hey, Bobby, just one real quick, and I probably should know the answer to this, but, the custodians, did we have 2 custodians last year, or do we branch off to 2 this year, the coming year? Have we always had 2 for a period of time?
That's been, I don't remember whether that was split last year.
Okay.
I think it was.
Last year.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
One for downstairs and one for upstairs.
Okay.
All right, since there is no questions, I will ask for a motion to accept the 2021 proposed budget. Move to accept. Thank you, Hans. And a second, please. Larry, thank you. For those in the room, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right. Michelle, it should be the next poll, so we'll launch as soon as we know. They're voting? Yep. Okay. Now I know what I'm doing. We're good now. Thank you.
So I guess there was one online question while they're voting. It says, when will the new website be launched?
Yep.
The website, we're in the process of scheduling the photographer to come and take photos. Here's what happened with the website. The website was ready to launch. Their website has been built for over a year and has been ready to go. The Sunday we shut down due to COVID was the Sunday the photographer was scheduled to be here to do photos for our website. And we've held off on doing any of the photos because we didn't want photos of an empty church. And so once we start coming back to church and there are a number of people here worshiping and things like that, the photographer, we're in the process of scheduling that time again with a photographer from the web host or the people who built our website to come out and get those photos done, and then it will be launched.
We'll wait a second, see if there's any follow-up questions or if that answered. Only what?
53% have voted online.
And so it's still waiting.
Yeah, I mean, nobody, it looks like everybody is going in and, I mean, it hasn't changed in a bit.
Okay.
Go ahead and index.
Was there any no vote? Okay. We've got enough. The motion carries to accept the 2021 proposed budget. Next, we will go into committee reports. The first one on the list is the sunbeams. I'm not sure if there's anyone who's going to come up and read out for that or if that is there for information. Anyone that wants to share? If not, we can. Okay, I see you back there. You're good to go. Okay, and then there's information in here from worship chair from Rosie. We've got the details there. Even for being out of the church and being COVID, there was still a lot that went on. So I enjoyed reading through everything that Rosie provided for us there. Next up will be endowment. Larry, are you gonna?
Information only.
Information only, okay. Okay, so the information is in here for endowment. Are there any questions for the endowment? Okay. All right, we'll move right along. Next up is EYA. I don't know, I know I saw Hans and Rhiannon. Either one, is this for information only, or were either one of you going to share anything additional? Just information, okay. So is there any questions currently about EYA? I know it definitely got pushed back due to COVID. You know, the deadlines kept moving and there were opportunities that they were going to allow us to continue. And so, you know, kind of changed finishing up, but we'll have a final, I think we should have a final report at the semi-annual meeting, probably if we are done, because I know there's still a question on the table about one of the projects wasn't able to be completed on if that money's going to have to be returned or not. So, all right, if there's nothing there, partners in food? Information only. I did read through here, a lot of really good year, a lot of need, I think, this year too. So is there any questions about the information part provided for partners in food? I'm assuming Michelle will yell at me if anything pops up online. All right, and then the last one would be nursery school. If there's anyone that I think it's information only as well for nursery school. And I did notice, called out, that they have eliminated the youngest class and going forward, so it'll be 2 classes, the youngest group being on 2 days a week, and then the pre-K being 3 days a week, what they'll be proposing for the next school year that'll be starting this fall. Okay. Next step, then we'll just move right along. We'll go to new members. I think all 3 of them are here. Do you all feel comfortable coming up front? Huh? Yes, but I have to vote on it first. Yep, absolutely.
I want to, first of all, offer just a word of clarification based upon some things that I said during worship service and some of the messages I've been receiving on my phone. First of all, in no way am I thinking about resigning from this position, okay? So what I'm trying to express is just in the best way that I can, because I don't have any sounding boards really. I stand here and I'm given the opportunity to share, but at the same time, who do I go to when I feel frustrated? I'm currently, I know I've been there a lot, and you're always trying to give me beer. I don't know why. Right. Well, but I think we also need to look back and think about the year we've moved through. It's not just me, it's everybody. Everybody has felt a sense of frustration, and anything that comes up in our lives, and it might even be something small, in the midst of a stressful time or extended stress, it can seem like a mountain when it isn't really a mountain. And sometimes that just builds and builds and builds, and like I had shared with some people who had texted me, and I had mentioned when I walked into the worship service today, when you receive a message, like I did before I walked into the worship service, it just kind of, that was a very small thing, but at the moment it felt like a big thing, and I'm supposed to walk in here and feel good about, coming into the worship service. While somebody just told me, until you do this, it's like I'm holding you hostage and I'm not coming back until this happens. And I'm just trying to operate in a manner, like I said, with the church council on the schedule in which we are, and that we're able to make decisions as a collective body and in a collective team at the end of the month, so things can go out in the newsletter and go out on Facebook or any other social media aspect that gets the information to everybody for when we start a new month. And we've operated on that model, and I know sometimes it feels frustrating and it can be impatient, and when we can all get impatient, but we're also all working jobs, and I'm doing a number of things. I've been a part of an online group that's meeting until August of this year to get certification on being really being a better pastor and a better coach and a better teacher. And there is a whole group of people that meet Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, and we have been since February of this year. So I'll have certification in the International Federation of Coaches, not athletic coaches, but personal life coaches or grief coaches, which will lead to some new opportunities I believe, in the life of our congregation. I just need to be better at it before I feel comfortable in doing something like that. So I'm committed to you. And there are a lot of things that I've wanted to do for you this year that are fine for me to do, and I wanted to do it. So don't hear this as me asking again for a favor or sympathy for something. I'm fine in paying for all the Zoom stuff. I am. Dan's always on me, you need to turn that in. You don't need to pay that amount every month for Zoom to happen. I decided to do that because if you remember all the way back when we started Zoom, and I wasn't very smart when concerning Zoom, but we wanted to try to create a community on Zoom, and I didn't know that the free version only took us a half hour, and the first one they allowed you an hour, which I didn't know about, and then the second, I thought this is pretty cool. I can do this under an hour and it's not going to cost anything. Well, that's the first time. They lure you in with that. Then the next week, remember we met and all of a sudden the worship service ended and you all got out 30 minutes early and you thought, that's great. Jeff, please don't figure this out. But I also felt like this is something that I took the gamble that we were going to utilize it for a longer period of time because I thought the pandemic would exist longer than what we thought it might at the time. Plus, we'd use it for meetings. I'd use it for counseling. I can't tell you how many people I've met with on Zoom to plan weddings, to plan funerals, to do marriage counseling, to do all kinds of things. And so it's not only something that I use personally, that we also use in the life of the church. The certification that I am receiving through the International Federation of Coaches is a fee of about $7,400, which I'm willing to pay myself also for the benefit of the church. And why do I do that? Because I really think that we should start in the near future a support type group for us to be able to get together to express some of the things that I expressed this morning. I just expressed it in a public way. Not everybody has the opportunity or is given the chance to come to a place right here and to express that. And I expressed it because I really feel like, I really believe in what I say on Sunday morning. And so if I'm talking about taking chances, I'm just going to take a chance. And I said it. And as Greg knows and as Kyle knows, if they're looking at my notes up there, that wasn't something that was in the notes. You know, it was like, should I do this? Should I not do this? And it's kind of been there for a while, and it just felt like the right time to do it this morning. It might not have felt like the right thing to say when I said it, but they're simply my feelings, and I wanted you to know them. Because I trust you, and I feel like you trust me, and I wanted to share it with you, so I did. The third thing that I want to say is I'm excited about some of the things that we're hoping to do in this next year. Larry Draghi and Sandy have been a part of this planning. We got it started and then COVID started and then we just decided, I decided really, we didn't meet again. And that was my thing. And I should have expressed that better to both of you. I just didn't want to do another meeting. I was doing Tuesday night Zoom meetings. I was doing, like I said, marriage counseling, wedding planning, funeral planning. And so I just put that aside for the moment. And that is the playground project that we would like to continue to engage in for this year. We do have plans. We got to the point where we looked at some plans and we do have some prices. I have had people express to me that they were excited about the opportunity and excited about donating to what could be anywhere from a $50,000 to $80,000 renovation project. But we view it as something that will not only benefit our church and benefit the nursery school kids, but also the community. Living here, and if you're up here, you know that there's hardly a day goes by that there's not somebody on that playground. Whether people are down here using the ball diamond and their kids come over here for a period of time while they're down for practice or throwing around or something like that. There's always somebody on it, or there's cars parked there that people come up and use. So we think it'll be a great addition to the community. In speaking with my father over the weekend, you know, he would like to make a donation in his wife's name. What that amount will be, I don't know. I asked him for the whole amount. He said, I'll have to think about it. It's like when you go to buy a car, right? And they tell you it's $35,000. You say, well, I think it's worth 20. And they say, you're crazy. And they throw papers at you and they leave and they got to go talk to a manager and they come back and you got to start somewhere. So I am excited about the future. I sometimes am frustrated in the moment. And so sometimes the words we say can sound a certain way, but it doesn't mean, and I want you to hear this, that was something that was definite. I'm just expressing to you how I feel. And if I upset anyone or hurt anyone's feelings, that wasn't something that was intended. I was just being open and honest with all of you, which I try to do the best I can. Yes, ma'am.
When are we going to be free to offer hugs?
You can hug whoever you want if you're vaccinated. You know, there was a question I had this morning that I don't know the answer to, and maybe somebody smarter than I does. I was going to talk with my doctor because Laura had a concern about being here today because she's not had her second shot yet. I've been fully vaccinated. I've asked the question in some worship services, and a lot of people have said they've been fully vaccinated. That doesn't mean you don't carry, you know, the virus with you. What does it mean when we are fully vaccinated if we're hugging or if we're shaking hands? And this happened yesterday when I was with my dad and Brenda's sisters. You know, we called the Gerst house because they wanted to eat German food. And this was like at 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was an hour wait to get into the Gerst house. So I called over to Franklin Street Pizza, and they said, a table for 9, we can get you in about 30 minutes. So everything's packed now, okay? Everything's going back to normal. We get that. But what does it mean to be fully vaccinated and still a carrier for somebody that, like Laura, who might not be fully vaccinated and could contract the virus? And then what's that mean when you go home with your mom? I need to find out the answer to that, and I'll try to do that this week. So if you feel comfortable hugging somebody and they're comfortable hugging you, don't just go hug somebody. They might not want one, okay? Don't come up here and just grab me. Just say, hey, is it okay? Is it all right? Michelle, do you have a...
We had I don't know. Can anybody hear? Okay, no. Okay, so there were a couple things from online. One was quilters have not started quilting, but will start in May. And then there was one question was, what was the final deadline date from the Center for Congregations for completion of EYA?
Right. Hans, you want to, that all got changed with COVID, and they've been very generous. Do you want to speak to that briefly?
The deadline date, projects were supposed to be completed in May. I think September 1 was supposed to be financial reporting deadline. We found out last week that we don't have to return any of that funding. We did enough, and they're confident enough in us that they patted us on the back and said, go forth and prosper. So that's where we're at.
Right. And so what we want to do, and what Hans and I and Rhiannon had talked about, was whatever funds need to go back to the endowment committee will be returned to the endowment committee. But the Center for Congregations is allowing us to keep all the funds that they gave us and don't want any returned. Whether that is utilized in a weekend for hope, or we have money left in some of those other funds, they're really giving us free rein with it. If you remember, when we first went up to our original gathering, and when we sat and we talked about the process, and at the end of it they said, here's $3,000 of seed money, go and use it, we'd love for you to have it. They were equally as gracious in the end of this process. I don't know if they would have been without COVID and how everything just got crazy, but they even allowed us to divert funds to go to what now exists as, you know, all the cameras and the monitors that are upstairs in the balcony. So we're incredibly appreciative of them. And we don't know if we'll take those funds and use them exactly as they're designated, or if that will go into this playground fund if we ultimately decide to create one of those line items to start building toward the goal of the playground renovation. Great question. Any other questions? Yes, Larry.
Jeff, just one comment, just echoing what Carol said. I think as a congregation, we owe you, to support you, we owe you a pastoral relations committee. And I hope that all our councils here today, I hope that's on their agenda at the next meeting. It's, you know, we struggle, I've been part of those committees, we struggled at different times with getting regular meetings, but we've always tried, and we should try harder to have a committee that supports these ministers. We haven't done that. So that's all
I think this virus has been hard on everybody, the church, the families, the community. We just got to pray and we'll get through this.
Absolutely, and we are, you know, and so you're exactly right. Now's the time, and this is what I'm seeing, not only in the group that I meet with on Tuesday and Thursdays. I counseled a guy from Long Island a couple weeks ago, and as we're coming out of COVID, I think I shared this story in worship, or I shared it in a council meeting, I don't remember. In the last year, he's lost 7 family members and friends to COVID. And we're now coming out of it, and he's feeling like all of what I was just treading water with. Maybe you'd speak to it in healthcare, where you all have been treading water for so long, and now it's kind of getting back to normal. And sometimes when we are able to let our guard down, some of those feelings that we thought might have been pushed somewhere bubble up. And I appreciate that, Larry. The church council has been a place where I normally would share some of those things, but we've been up against the wall for so long. We've really just got into business, and then check-in's going to begin. So either we're creating a breakout room so people that come into check-in can go into that breakout room, or we're trying to be done at 7 so we can start check-in, and Jeff can go to his Tuesday night thing with Dawn. So it's just been, you know, go back to that car analogy. We've been running at some high RPMs for a long time, and it feels kind of nice to let the car idle a little bit to be able to let some of that stuff out. Jim? Oh.
They want us to pass, I've been told they want us to pass the mic around.
Oh, so they can hear?
Yeah, they can't hear online.
Okay.
Thank God you're here, Jeff.
Yeah.
I do that. I say that because as part of that search committee that I remember it was either the first or second meeting we had. Gabe Schrader, co-chair of that committee with me, said, Jim, we need to find someone like a Pastor Jeff Long. And we looked at each other and said, yeah, lots of luck. And it wasn't a smooth road by any means that brought you here.
Right.
But I firmly believe God wanted you here. I firmly believe that. And I still believe that today.
I do too. Thank you, Jim. You took a chance, right? Once you finished your piece of chicken downstairs in the dining room. No, that's right. You didn't choke on a bone, or yeah, you had your wishbone with Carol, and you said, "Should we or shouldn't we?" And we'll ask. We do still have installation of officers. Okay, you're going to vote on 3 new officers, and then we'll do a quick installation, and then.
There was one other thing that was online that I was seeing. is that when they were talking about the playgrounds, I guess there is one very old, dangerous bench that needs to be removed. I don't know, that's just what somebody said online. Bench. Yes, bench.
All right, to get started, before we have the three new members come up, since we need to vote and it's going to take a minute, if the three new members will stand where they're at to begin with, then we can start the motion and the voting, and then once everything is good, then we can come up for installation or stay where you're at, however you would like. So for those that are online, we have three new members, Nancy Lewis, Brian Crace, and Michelle Henheisen, if I say it right, have graciously agreed to come on and be your new council members and usher you through the next 3 years with those that are remaining. And so I will, as customary, open it to the floor for any other nominations. If they're not, then we'll start the process. All right. Okay. And then if I can get a motion to accept these three members. Thank you, Larry. Katie, I'll count you as the second. For those in place here, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. And I see Michelle doing her first almost official council duty member in launching the poll, so we can confirm everyone online is ready to. Yes.
I just want to say, hold on, wait a minute. I just want to say thank you not only to Pastor Jeff, but to all the council members. I don't think we as a congregation realize the hours and the time and the worry and everything that's gone along with this job. And I think we all owe them a great hand of applause and appreciation.
Thank you. We've spent a lot of time together the last year. Virtually, but a lot of time together. All right. As soon as we know for sure that we're good online. Thanks, Jonathan.
Is it on? Okay. A nurse perspective, the research is showing, Jeff, that fully vaccinated people are not spreading coronavirus. They're not carriers. So that's what the initial research that they've done, is showing, that they're not. So obviously they're not 100% effective. The vaccines aren't either. So there is a small percentage of people that have been vaccinated that have still gotten sick. The majority of those haven't gotten as sick as they could have gotten. So, but we're not seeing a lot of carriers in vaccinated people.
Yeah, 56% online.
Okay, we have the votes in. We are good online, so the motion carries to install the three new members. So welcome to all of them. It's your turn. I will let the three of you decide how you're comfortable. You want to stay where you're at, or if you're comfortable coming up here closer.
The only no vote for you about being approved come from your husband, who's running the meeting. So that was the last message I got. Before I ask the new members to come forward, I don't know if Ashley's here today. I
believe she's online.
She's on. Ashley will be going off, but April will be leaving, and then Rosie is right here. If you could stand, and we would give them a virtual and a real round of applause for their 3 years of service on the church council. Thank you. You didn't know what you were getting into. Like 2 of the 3 years were really, really smooth, and then this third year went a little bit different. Thank you all for for your service and your willingness to be a part of the adaptations that we had to make along the way. So here's the people I'd like to call forward, and I'd like you to come forward because I'd like for people to see you. Not everybody knows you. And so if you're uncomfortable, you're only going to be up here for a minute. And so I would like to call forward Brian Crace, Dan Hoffman, Nancy Lewis, Jake Gibson, Laverne Deal, Laura Draghi, Michelle Henheisen, Bob Clank, and Terry Schrader. I know not everyone is here, and some of those are online, but this is the majority of them. To you who are gathered here today as church council members, you going again? You want to go again? Okay, good company, excellent. You got my password to Zoom and everything, so you could sneak in. I know, can't keep you out, a block. To those of you that have agreed to be a part of our church council and have been approved by this congregation, do you this day acknowledge yourself as a faithful disciple of Jesus Christ? If so, please say, I do. Will you devote yourself to the service of God in the world? If so, please say, I will. Will you so live that you enable this church to be the people of love and peace? If so, please say, I will. And will you do all in your power to be responsible to the task for which you have been chosen? If so, please say, I do. Let's pray for a moment. Almighty and gracious God, pour out your blessing upon these your servants who have been given particular ministries in this church. Grant them grace and to give themselves wholeheartedly in your service. Keep before them the example of our Lord, who did not think first of himself, but gave himself for us all. Let them share his ministry and consecration, that they may enter into his joy. Guide them in their work, guide us together. Reward their faithfulness with the knowledge that through them your purposes are acknowledged and accomplished. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, we pray. Amen. For those of you that are gathered here today witnessing, God provides laborers for the vineyard. Will you do all that you can to assist and encourage these new council members in the responsibilities to which they have been called, giving them your cooperation, your counsel, your support, and your prayers? If so, please respond by saying, we will. It's in the name of Jesus Christ and on behalf of the community of Zion Lippe United Church of Christ that I have the opportunity to rejoice with you that you are affirmed to your calling to be leaders within this congregation. Congratulations to you all. Fully vaccinated. Congratulations. 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 Congratulations, Laura, you did it. All right, welcome back. Bob, you got a little bit of time left. Remember, we are going to meet right after we're done here, and we'll get the assignments for different leadership positions. April?
All right. So as far as I know, there's no old business that needs to be conducted. So I will, before we get ready to adjourn, I will at least open the floor if there's any new business that needs to be brought forward. I'm not there yet. I got to make sure there's no questions. It almost doesn't feel right for me to ask because Matt Kern's not here, and every council member meeting we joined together, he always made the motion to adjourn. So it should have been fitting that he did it today, but he's not here. Any questions? All right. So then Terry has a motion to adjourn. Han has seconded that motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries because majority here. Thank you, everyone.